I never imagined I'd be sitting here, recording this for strangers on the internet. But after everything that's happened, I need to get it out. My name's David Harlan. I'm 52 years old, live in a quiet neighborhood just outside Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Same house Emily and I bought right after we got married 25 years ago. 2 stories, white siding, the kind of place where folks wave from the driveway and complain about the property taxes. Ordinary life. Or at least that's what I told myself every single morning when I poured my coffee. Until last month. It was a Tuesday, pouring rain like the sky had something to prove. Emily had driven up to her sister's in Scranton for the weekend, some church retreat thing she does every year. I figured I'd finally tackle the closet in our bedroom. You know how it gets. Old coats, boxes of Christmas lights that never quite work, stuff you swear you'll sort someday. I was on my knees, pulling out a plastic tub of winter boots, when my hand brushed something hard behind the far wall. Not a box. Smaller. Colder. I pulled it out. A black smartphone. Scratched screen, no case. Definitely not mine, I carry a big clunky Android for work. Not Emily's either, hers is that pink one with the flower wallpaper. My stomach did this little flip, but I told myself it was probably something left by the last owners or a kid's old toy. Still, I pressed the power button. It lit up. No passcode lock. Just the home screen with a plain blue background. One app open in the background, Messages. I shouldn't have swiped. God, I wish I hadn't. But I did. The first text was from a contact labeled only M, sent 3 weeks ago. Emily, he's gone now. For real this time. Ryan will bring the letter like we planned. Don't tell David until you have to. My hands started shaking so bad I almost dropped the damn thing. M, my twin brother Michael's initial. But Michael had been dead for 23 years. Car crash up in the mountains. I'd identified what was left of the body myself. Or thought I had. I scrolled up. Dozens of messages. Years worth. Not every day, but steady. Like old friends checking in. One from 6 months back, the pain's getting worse. Doctors say months, not years. Make sure David never finds out how it really ended that night. Another from last Christmas, tell Ryan the truth if I don't make it. He deserves to know who his real father is. Real father? My chest tightened like someone had wrapped a chain around it. I sat right there on the closet floor, rain hammering the window, and kept reading. Message after message about the accident. About how careful they had to be. About me. That was the moment I realized something was terribly wrong. My wife of 25 years had been talking to a ghost. I didn't sleep that night. Just lay in our bed staring at the ceiling, phone hidden under my pillow like it was evidence in a crime show. Every creak in the house made me jump. I kept picturing Emily's face, the way she smiles with her eyes first when she's happy, the little frown she gets when she's worried about the grandkids we don't have. We tried for years after the crash. She said the stress made her miscarry. We moved on. Built a life. Or so I thought. The next morning I made myself coffee like nothing happened. But I couldn't stop. I opened the phone again while the machine hissed. More messages. One from 2 years ago stopped me cold. David still thinks it was an accident. Good. Keep it that way. He doesn't deserve the truth after what he did to me on that road. What I did. I was the one driving. Michael and I were fighting the whole way up to settle Mom and Dad's estate. They died in a small plane crash the year before, pilot error, the report said. The will left everything split down the middle, but Michael was convinced I'd pressured them to change it. Said I always got the better deal growing up. Twins, but I was the responsible one. He was the wild card. We argued in the car that night. Windows down, rain coming sideways. I swerved to miss a deer. Or that's what I told the police. Michael flew through the windshield. They found his body 2 days later in the ravine. At least that's the story I lived with for 23 years. I closed the phone and shoved it back in the closet exactly where I found it. Emily was due home Sunday. I needed to act normal. But every time I looked at her when she walked through the door, hair still damp from the rain, carrying that silly tote bag with the church logo, I felt this knot in my gut. Who was this woman? The one I'd built a life with? The one who'd held me while I cried at Michael's funeral? I waited 2 days before I cracked. Saturday night, she was in the shower. I grabbed the phone again. New message from M, sent while she was away. Ryan's ready. He looks just like us. Tell David when the time comes. The letter explains everything. Us. Like Michael was still here. And Ryan? Who the hell was Ryan? I almost confronted her right then. But something stopped me. Fear, maybe. Or the sick hope that maybe it was all a prank. Some old burner phone from a friend. Anything but what my brain was screaming. That night I dreamed about the crash. The same dream I'd had for years, Michael's face as the car went over the edge, his eyes wide, accusing. Only this time he was smiling. Like he knew something I didn't. Sunday morning Emily made pancakes like always. We ate at the kitchen table, talking about the garden, the neighbor's dog, nothing important. I watched her hands, how they trembled just a little when she passed the syrup. Or was that my imagination? I kept thinking about those messages. He looks just like us. Monday I called in sick to the hardware store where I work part-time. Spent the day pacing the house. Every photo on the wall, our wedding, vacations, Michael's funeral, looked different now. Like someone had photoshopped the lies in. I opened the phone one more time. That's when I saw it. A message from last year, buried in the history. The crash wasn't your fault, Emily. I know that now. But back then, I really believed David tried to kill me. I had to disappear. For both of us. Tried to kill him. My own brother. The words hit like a punch to the ribs. I sat down hard on the edge of the bed. My twin. The guy who shared a womb with me. Who used to steal my baseball cards and then feel so guilty he'd buy me new ones. Dead for 23 years. Or not. I don't know how long I sat there. Long enough for the sun to shift across the floor. Long enough for me to feel every year of my life suddenly feel fake. That was the moment everything started to crack. I put the phone back. Made myself wait. I needed more. Needed to see her face when I asked. But first I had to know who Ryan was. 2 days later, on a Wednesday evening, the doorbell rang. I wasn't expecting anyone. Emily was at her book club. I opened the door and there stood this young man. 22, maybe 23. Tall. Dark hair like mine used to be before it went gray. Same jawline. Same eyes. He was wearing a faded denim jacket, holding a manila envelope like it was made of glass. David Harlan. His voice was steady, but his hands weren't. Yeah. That's me. He didn't smile. Just handed me the envelope. My father wanted you to have this. He passed last month. Said it was time. Father. My mouth went dry. Who are you? Ryan. Ryan Matthews. Or at least that's the name he gave me. You'll understand when you read it. He turned to leave. I grabbed the doorframe. Wait. Matthews? That's not. He looked back. Those eyes, Michael's eyes, met mine. Just read the letter, David. Then maybe we can talk. If you still want to. The door closed behind him. I stood there holding that envelope like it weighed 1,000 pounds. My legs felt numb as I walked to the kitchen table and sat down. The house was too quiet. Just the clock ticking and my own breathing. I opened it. The letter was handwritten. Michael's handwriting. I'd know it anywhere, from the birthday cards, the notes he'd leave on my windshield in high school. The paper smelled faintly of hospital antiseptic. David. If you're reading this, I'm gone. For real this time. No more hiding. I survived the crash that night in '02. Crawled out of that ravine with a broken leg and a cracked rib, flagged down a trucker who took me to a hospital 2 counties over. They thought I was some John Doe. I let them. Because I was sure you tried to kill me. You remember the fight. The will. Mom and Dad leaving you the house and me the business accounts. I was convinced you'd forged the changes. When you swerved that car, I saw it in your eyes. Rage. I flew through the glass thinking, he finally did it. I was wrong. I know that now. Took me years of watching from the shadows to realize it was just an accident. But by then it was too late. I'd built a new life. New name. Knew everything. Emily knew. I called her from the hospital the next day. Begged her to tell you I was dead. Said it was the only way I could start over without the family tearing itself apart. She loved you, David. But she believed me back then. Believed I'd almost died because of you. So she lied. For both of us. We stayed in touch. Quietly. Burner phones. Coded messages. She visited a few times over the years. Helped me when I needed it. There's more. The biggest part. That spring before the crash, Emily was pregnant. Your child. She didn't tell you yet, wanted it to be a surprise after we settled the estate. After the accident, after she lied about my death, she told you she miscarried. Stress, she said. But she didn't. She carried that baby to term. A boy. She gave him to me. Said she couldn't let you raise him if there was even a chance you'd hurt him like you hurt me. She was scared. Confused. And I was alone. So I took him. Raised him as my own. Named him Ryan after our grandfather. He thought, I was his dad. Blood tests would say different now, but back then DNA wasn't what it is today. Ryan knows the truth now. I told him before the cancer took me. He's the one delivering this. He looks just like us, David. Same stubborn chin. Same laugh. Your son. I don't expect forgiveness. I stole 23 years from you. From him. From all of us. But maybe now you can have what's left. I'm sorry, brother. Michael. I read it 3 times. Then I just sat there, tears running down my face onto the paper, blurring the ink. My brother alive all these years. My wife lying every single day. And my son, walking around thinking some stranger was his father. That was the moment I realized the life I'd lived was built on quicksand. I waited until Emily got home at 9. She walked in humming, kicked off her shoes, asked if I'd eaten. I didn't answer. Just slid the letter across the table. Her face went white. She picked it up with 2 fingers like it might burn her. I watched her eyes scan the words. Watched the color drain until she looked like a ghost. David. I can explain. Explain. My voice cracked. You told me my brother was dead. You told me our baby died. You gave my son to him. For 23 years. She sank into the chair opposite me. Hands shaking so bad the paper rattled. It wasn't like that. Not at first. Michael called me from the hospital. He was so sure you'd done it on purpose. And you two had been fighting so much about the will. I believed him. For a while. I was pregnant and terrified. When he asked me to say he was dead, it felt like the only way to keep everyone safe. You. The baby. The family name. She wiped her eyes. The miscarriage story, that was to protect you. I was going to tell you the truth after the baby came. But Michael convinced me you weren't safe. Said he'd disappear forever if I didn't let him raise the boy. I visited Ryan every chance I could. Watched him grow up in pictures Michael sent. It ate me alive, David. Every anniversary, every holiday, knowing our son was out there calling someone else dad. I stood up so fast the chair scraped. You chose him over me. Over us. No. Her voice broke. I chose what I thought was right at the time. Then it was too late to undo it. Michael got sick 2 years ago. We started planning this. The phone in the closet, it was his last one. He wanted Ryan to bring the letter after he passed. So you'd know without me having to say it first. I paced the kitchen. The same tiles we'd picked out together in 2003. Ryan. My son. He stood on our porch like a stranger. She nodded. He wants to meet you. For real. When you're ready. I didn't sleep again that night. Just lay there listening to Emily cry quietly in the guest room. I kept replaying every year. The times she left for girls' weekends that now felt like visits to Ryan. The way she sometimes stared at old photos of Michael with this faraway look. The empty nursery we painted and then repainted over when she said we couldn't have kids. By morning I knew I had to see Ryan. I texted the number from the phone. Ryan answered on the second ring. We met at the park downtown, the one with the duck pond where I used to take neighborhood kids fishing. He was already there on a bench, same denim jacket. We sat in silence for a long minute. Then he spoke. Dad, Michael, told me everything a week before he died. Said I looked like you when I was little. Same walk. Same way of rubbing my neck when I'm nervous. He did it right then. I felt my throat close. I don't know how to do this, I said. 23 years. I missed your first steps. Your first day of school. Everything. Ryan looked at the pond. I missed having a dad who wasn't hiding from his own brother. But I'm here now. If you want. We talked for 2 hours. He told me about growing up in a small apartment in Ohio. Michael working odd jobs, never talking about the past. Ryan always felt something was missing. The letter finally explained it. I told him about the crash the way I remembered it. The deer. The fight that wasn't about murder, just two stubborn brothers who couldn't agree on anything. He listened. Nodded. Didn't accuse me of anything. When we stood to leave, he hugged me. Awkward at first, then real. I want to know you, David. If you'll let me. That hug cracked something open in me I didn't know was still sealed. Emily and I talked every night for a week after. Long talks. Crying. Yelling sometimes. She admitted she'd kept the secret because she was ashamed. Ashamed of believing Michael over me. Ashamed of giving our son away. But mostly because she loved us both, me and Michael, and didn't know how to fix it without breaking everything. I never stopped loving you, she said one night on the back porch, fireflies blinking in the yard. I just carried this weight alone. Every time you mentioned Michael's name, it felt like a knife. I wanted to hate her. Part of me still does. But another part, the part that's been married 25 years, understands how fear can twist you. How grief makes you do things you'd never imagine. We decided Ryan would come for dinner last weekend. First real family meal. Emily made her famous lasagna. I set 3 places at the table instead of 2. When Ryan walked in, he brought a photo album Michael had kept. Pictures of Ryan as a baby, toddler, teen. Michael in every one, smiling like a proud dad. We looked through them together. Laughed at the bad haircuts. Cried at the milestones I missed. Ryan asked questions about me and Michael growing up. About our parents. About the real story of the crash. I told him the truth. No more lies. At the end of the night, Ryan stood in the doorway before leaving. I don't know what to call you yet. But, thanks for not shutting the door. I pulled him into another hug. Call me whatever feels right. Just, don't be a stranger anymore. He's coming back next weekend. We're planning a trip to the mountains where the crash happened. Not to relive it, to close the circle. Emily's coming too. The three of us. What's left of our broken family, trying to stitch it back together. I still wake up some nights with that phone in my mind. Still feel the sting of 23 stolen years. The betrayal. The lies that built my whole life. But I also feel something else now. A strange kind of peace. The truth finally came out. My brother died knowing he was wrong about me. My son knows who his real father is. And my wife and I. We're talking more honestly than we have in decades. If you're watching this and you've carried a secret in your own family, some lie that started small and grew until it blocked out the sun, hear me. The truth hurts like hell when it finally breaks through. But living in the dark hurts worse. I lost my brother twice. Once in a crash, once in the lies. But I gained my son. And maybe, just maybe, that's the part of the story that matters most. Thanks for listening. If this helped even one person face their own hidden phone, their own old accident, their own Ryan at the door, then it was worth recording. Take care of the people you love. Before it's too late. My name's David Harlan. And this is how my real life finally started.